The robots are coming. He thinks
Does
robots
he?
are going to cut hair soon. There'll be no hairdressers, there'll be robots.
How will they do that?
Well, I don't know. You'd program, and that would, of course, spell people.
Everyone would
spell
have the same
big trouble
makeup,
for
though.
people working in certain industries. Maybe Sam's right. A futurist in the United States has compiled a list of the jobs most under threat from automation, and there are more than a few surprises. John Pugliano, author of The Robots Are Coming, a human survival guide to profiting in the age of automation, says if you're starting out in the following industries, getting long service leave is not going to happen.
Terrific. Online services will mean an end for travel agents and florists, apparently. Even professions like family doctors and lawyers will be under threat, if you can believe
And
that.
hairdressers.
Automation will deliver bus, train and taxi drivers to the unemployment line. And here's quite an irony, isn't it? People working in IT may be replaced by the very algorithms and programs that they work on.
That's bad luck, isn't it? Recruitment expert Michelle Rubinstein and futurist Chris Riddell join us now. Good morning to you both. Michelle, let's start with you. There are a few surprises on that list. GPs, lawyers and IT people especially.
Yep.
I mean, GPs kind of maybe, but law where you need to apply some thinking to what you're seeing, that's the big surprise.
Absolutely, guys. Look, first of all, Mon, to your point, I really hope that hairdressing isn't impacted by the robots. I quite like going to the hairdressers. But no, look, I think what needs to be taken into context is, despite all of the, some alarming stats we're seeing with 800 million jobs being impacted over the next 20 years, aspects of people's roles will be impacted. But we've got to recognise there's always going to be a place for human interaction, customer service. So elements of roles will or potentially could be impacted, but overall there is always going to be a need for good old human contact with people.
So, Chris, I'm sure you get asked this all the time, but when you're out and someone says, what job shouldn't I be in, what do you say?
Well, if you believe the background that's behind me here in Melbourne, I mean, it's doomsday when it comes to
It does look a bit
technology. Look, everyone's terrified, aren't they, about robots? And if we look back in history, it's actually change that we're terrified. Humans hate change. Even I've seen some footage when the first ATM was installed in Sydney, and there was this very posh BBC reporter showing how you'd use this piece of plastic to get this money out of a robot in the wall, and people were protesting that this device would kill banking. And the truth is, the next 7 years after that, we had massive growth in banking because technology made it available to everybody on the street. And technology creates jobs, but it also changed the way that we do things. And if you really want to look at where this is going, it's about being more intelligent and using having a higher level of what we call emotional intelligence in the future. If you're doing a repetitive job, then that probably is going to be one that's going to be replaced by technology.
So I guess the question, Michelle, in some ways, I mean, do the robots and technology improve so much that eventually there are no jobs left for humans, or does freeing humans up, do we find new things for humans to get onto, a better use of human labour?
Yeah, look, I think that that's absolutely, what we're going to be looking to in the future, where the need for some of those more mundane and routine tasks may fall by the wayside, but it gives people a lot more opportunity to be involved in using their creativity and their communication skills and interpersonal skills. So, the reality is a lot of people today and going into the future will have the opportunity to be involved in a lot more creative and more rewarding tasks. So yes, some of those more routine and mundane things may fall by the wayside, but long gone are the days where people will only have one career. They may be able to use those transferable skills to get into more rewarding and challenging work later on.
So it's not all ominous and doom and gloom, but as you say, Chris, we humans just don't like change, even if it's going to be better for us in the long run. How would you say is the best way that people can future-proof their careers?
Look, I think the big thing here is if you've got a job where you're dealing with other humans and you're dealing with people, then that's a career path that you've got to go down. If we look at it from an industry perspective, the healthcare industry is going through a massive boom. So if you've got a young child and you're looking for what industry you want to put them in, which has got some great growth, healthcare, because things like wearables and technology means that we're more interested in our health. We're living longer and better lives than we've ever done before in history. The other big thing, though, to remember here, and I just want to touch on what Michelle said. She's absolutely right. We now have an opportunity, whether you're a teenager or an adult, to start up and set up a business because of technology. This is huge. We've never had that before in history like we have.
Hey, Chris, just before you go, very, very briefly, could a robot actually be programmed to cut hair for Sam Mack's benefit?
I think that would be something that we'd be a little bit worried about. I don't think she needs to worry about that anytime soon.
Thank you
Good news for
very much.
hairdressers around the world.
Yes, we appreciate that. Well, the education
Thanks,
system
Michelle.
is going to have to keep up and to be teaching kids how to be creative, to work
Exactly.
into the future.
Yep.
Good to talk to you both. Thank you.